Welcome, everyone, to the Summer Split, episode 18 of EUphoria podcast, sponsored by ExpressVPN. Head on over to expressvpn.com/LEC to get your 14-day free trial and subscribe for free Hex Tech chests and keys. Woo!
Yep, and we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube. And today, we have the G2 boys on to talk all things G2, the synergy, the journey over the course of the year, the expectations for what the top three will look like, and their playoff expectations.
Let's get into it. Here we are, joined by the victorious group-topping number one. They haven't even finished the season yet. They're already number one. It's none of the G2, Labrov and Caps. Gentlemen, it's been a pretty damn good weekend, I have to say. How are you both feeling after this BDS series?
Feeling quite well. We finally managed to beat BDS. We lost to them 2 times the whole year. And so that didn't feel great, especially since I was in BDS. And when I was in BDS, we were always getting smashed by G2. So when I joined G2 and we couldn't win BDS, it was kind of feeling bad for me.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I feel quite well. I think we also secured top 1 in our group.
You did, first place.
So feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure fun. Also to play against Fnatic and the new rosters always was nice.
Yeah, a little bit of personal stakes there. We can talk about that one. Kicking off with the BDS series, Rasmus. You kind of chain fed game 1. What the hell happened? Like, for those who don't know, Rasmus, you played Annie. You died 1v1 in the mid lane. It was a little bit awkward, and then kind of continued to die. Now you did then flash ult and basically instantly win the game. What happened? What happened in the mid lane matchup? How is it supposed to go? Because I assume you dying was not a part of the plan.
No, I mean definitely. I think I messed up in the early parts of the game, especially with Annie. If you start falling behind, usually keep dying a bit. She's quite immobile and low range, so if things go wrong, they go very wrong. But luckily, we managed to find a few ways back. And the thing is, she has a lot of CC, right? And a lot of damage. So you can always find one good play. It's kind of like Annie is kind of like a support, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Support just dies a lot, and then you find one good engage, nice.
Yeah, we were saying the same. It's kind of like a blitzcrank, except then the Rakan kept dodging every blitz hook. So it's like, well, blitzcrank didn't really have as good a time as the Annie this one.
Labrov, what's going through your head when you see Caps die in mid lane? Because I'm sure you've seen it in scrims, no doubt. This man has a reputation. But are you like, shit, we have to step it up? What's going on?
Today I was a bit surprised with how early game was going, because usually Caps hard wins this matchup. And I mean, after some probably accidents happened in the game, I was like, it's fine. I think we're probably gonna win the game still. We had really good draft, I think, that game. And yeah, I just thought the rest of us have to step it up and make sure the game is stabilized, and we will have our chances in the team fights.
Yeah, I mean, you guys played for time well. You played the map super well. It felt like BDS, the early lane was there. Rooster feels like a guy who's got his lane on lock. Nuke had a good performance against you, but did feel like they were a little bit dizzy as we got into the mid-game map movement. But in game 2, I do want to know, were you expecting a blitzcrank lock-in? Is there something I don't know? Why was there a blitzcrank in that second game?
Okay, to me, I have been in that scenario where nothing looks good for your support champion.
Yeah.
And then you just default to blitzcrank. That used to be for me in the past. When I don't know what to pick, I will just pick blitz, and it's it's gonna
hope
be
for the best.
Yeah, hope for the best. Yeah. If you find some good hooks, it will be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better than something you're probably gonna lose from start to finish, And I think that's what Paulus thought.
Yeah.
I think Blitz is not that good in the Zyragan, so I was like...
I think you broke him.
Yeah.
Every hook that went your direction, you just outplayed or you outmaneuvered.
I think one on mid, sadly, I got hooked. If I was a bit more locked in, I could easily just W away. But yeah, I think I was happy playing that matchup for sure.
Is there anything that you think that should have been picked? When we were talking about it in draft, I was wondering if maybe we see a range support just to try to give themselves a winning 2v2.
I think Lulu is probably good in that case. I feel Lulu, if you play it well, I think you probably win Zyragan. You also have a Sejuani, which is Lulu and Sanders are usually good with tank junglers.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but I had a feeling that he will probably play a melee champion, which he likes more. So I was quite confident just picking Zyragan.
Yeah, that series overall felt pretty dominant, pretty one-sided. Any initial reactions to the Dr. Mundo kind of working as expected? There have been some stinkers for the Dr. Mundo for you guys, but this was kind of the the perfect Dr. Mundo game, I think, for Broken Blade. Kind of hung out, did nothing, suddenly killed 4 people. Pushed waves, killed 5 people. We screamed about it a lot.
And then he screamed Mundo, Mundo.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, like the Mundo is always like, he will just always run in there, and then you'll find out if he's going to be very tanky and tank all 5 people, or if he's just going to get like instant one-shot. It depends a lot on the ult, if they buy anti-healing, you know, like the usual, but this time around he was unkillable.
Yeah, you guys were just so incredibly far ahead. That was a game that was interesting because it felt over at 10 minutes and then it just continued. It just kept going.
I wanted to get your take a little bit on what you think Nuke is as a player, because we kind of hear like a lot of mixed things. From some people, he's kind of okay. He's kind of sitting like the 5th kind of position, but I think he's actually had like a really good year. And I don't like when BDS hasn't been able to hit the high highs that they used to. Do you still think he belongs in the conversation of like some of the top mid laners, or do you think he still has some things to work on to get there?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think he has been performing well. I think even last year as well. BDS almost took us down, right? So I mean, I definitely think Nuke has been doing quite well. I think he definitely has like his comfort gems, I would say, where when the meta shifts a bit, it can be a bit tougher on him than I think maybe other players. But I think whenever he gets one of his strong champs, he usually performs quite consistent.
Yeah, overall it's been kind of a rough and tumble year for BDS, I'd say. Labrov, kind of what was your experience in Nuke? Is there anything that he did really well that stood out to you now that you played with Caps as well?
Yeah.
Any contrast, any things you've noticed?
I mean, I would say that when I played with Nuke, I think he's very like a talkative person, and I feel like when he's strong, he like pulls people like around him, and like I feel like he can lead in the game. And I think his biggest strength is also his laning phase. I think he also has really good laning phase, like both games today. But I think, for example, like I also agree with Caps that I think he's really good on his like main champions. But for example, I feel like he's not as flexible as like Caps is. And also, yeah, I mean, like for example, like Caps like mid game knowledge is like not even close, you know. Like I mean, just Caps in general, you know, not like Nuke is like bad at mid game as this thing. Like
yeah, it's not a diss.
Yeah,
it's just Caps.
Yeah. But yeah, I think he had very good games today.
Yeah, overall, like obviously the solo kills is hard to take that away from him, but at a certain point, I understand why I wanted to build Roa first, but watching, you know, the 2-item Ophelia, 2nd item healing reduction in armor pen, just try to kill Broken Blade was depressing. Not for G2 fans, probably not for you guys. You guys are just laughing as they auto attack, doing literally 0 damage. But it's a good win overall, right? You secure first, but I think the more important matchup, kind of in my eyes, the only matchup that I felt like was really critical in this group was you versus Fnatic. And game 1 felt, at least early on, like it had the potential to be close. I would say game 2 was not close. It was, you guys were bleeding them out a lot. But kind of going into the series, what were your guys' expectations? Because Fnatic had played a lot of the teams below them in the group. They had looked solid, right? Some oopsies certainly in the early game, but how did it compare to your expectations?
Yeah, I mean, I think of course they changed the mid lane, right? So it was gonna be fun for me to see like how Poppy plays. A lot of people were saying that he was insane in lane, so I was excited to see how that was. I think they started playing a little bit less aggressive, I would say. I think last split they kind of just they just kind of flipped it a lot. I feel like especially on dives, they were just diving like super deep, and if they saw a champion, they just went for it. Yeah. I think playing against them yesterday, it felt like if I walked forward, they usually walk backwards. I mean, sometimes like Razak just started hitting me, but most of the times they were kind of clicking a bit backwards. So I felt like they were playing like a bit more defensive.
Yeah, it felt a little bit that way. I think one of the things that stood out to me was like game 1, we saw blue side first pick Azir. Felt pretty easy for you guys to just lock in like Talia Pantheon, kind of get the Exodia mid jungle. Didn't feel like you felt a lot of pressure in mid lane. Now, I'm absolutely not a mid lane matchup expert, but like, is that normal for the Talia Azir? Would you expect, like, should I expect if I'm like, oh, if this is the, 2 equal mid laners, that Azir should be getting a better advantage? Because I feel like neither of you guys actually participated in kills in the game until like 15, 20 minutes, right? Which felt like it was working out pretty well for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it can definitely go like a lot of ways, depending on like, I guess just everyone else on the map, right? I think like individually, Talia usually can get the push early, of course, and if she gets like some good bases, she can start getting ahead. But then it also just depends so much on like support timings, jungle timings, like especially if they can get Talia flash. I think I ended up not using flash for a long time, which makes it a bit trickier for like AC ult and stuff. But if I don't have flash, for example, then you can die very easily, right? And I will have to respect a lot more. And then of course, like if I would have loved to maybe find some more places on the map. Usually Talia can like go bot or top quite easily, but didn't find it that game until at least like a bit later in the game.
Yeah. For you, Labrov, I know that like when we talk about Fnatic, I think the one part of the map that's consistently praised is their bot lane 2v2. You get Alistar game 1, which feels like a pretty big comfort pick for you. Did you feel any kind of special pressure when you play against Fnatic or against another top team that kind of has one of the stronger bot lanes in the league? Is there anything that you're particularly focused on?
Not really. I mean, maybe just like their comfort picks. If, for example, like I feel like every team has their own like picks on bot lane that they usually prefer and they're really good at. I think we were mindful about this, and I mean, regardless, I just like every game, like I just focus on myself, and me and Hans to just do well. I don't really think of who I play against. I just want to do well on my own. And yeah, I think that series didn't have like the best showing. I think both games, I think we kind of messed up bot lane. But I think Fnatic game 2, I think they played bot lane well. I think they had a good movement and a lot of our skills were not landing, sadly.
Yeah, that seemed like a frustrating one for you because I think your second death, it was the Mickey clone that wasn't actually a Mickey clone. It was actually Mickey, the root halving. Like, do you take it hard in game when you find those deaths in lane, or you just kind of just, hey, it happened? Like,
I think in the past, like it was harder for me, especially like if I start dying, it would be harder for me to like get back into the game. But I think recently, like it's like easier, you know. I think I'm just like more locked in. I would say it just happened, you know. Just like see the map again and like think what's next. But that play was kind of smart because Mickey also transformed into a creep, so I couldn't like W him.
Yeah,
and he just went melee into me, and yeah, he played very well that gank.
Yeah, definitely worked out well for him, and like a tough thing I think in that moment to react to. But cool to hear that it's something that used to affect you. You don't feel like affects you as much. Is that something that's been a focal point for you on G2? Have you been focused on, or was this something that has affected you just on BDS? You feel like it hasn't affected you on G2? Talking about like maybe taking those kills or those little mistakes in game and letting it negatively affect you throughout the rest of the game.
I would say for sure it was like affecting me more in like winter. I remember I had like some really awful games in winter when I joined. And yeah, I think after I was making some mistakes, like it was just hard to like stabilize. But I just feel like more comfortable now, and yeah, I don't think like it happens or like not as much now, so it feels nicer.
What is the Oh, I don't want to get on that. Hold that thought. We're gonna come back to that in a second.
Well, I was gonna ask because even though like it may not have gone exactly as you were hoping for in the early stages, I think like you guys did a really good job of like catching Fnatic on like little things that they overextended on. Like maybe they used an ultimate that they shouldn't have, or they're in the wrong position. Was this something that was kind of like a game plan coming into the game to be like Fnatic at some stage will overextend? We just need to be ready to kind of capitalize on that, or was it more just they kind of surprised you with the strong early game and then you just happened to find those moments? Because you seemed like quite a defensive game from you guys versus like what we saw say today.
Yeah, I mean definitely. I think as I mentioned before, like I think going into the series, we expected Fnatic to play very aggressive. They always play aggressive. I think kind of regardless of the year, you know, going 5 years back, they were still playing aggressive. So we're definitely expecting that from them. But I think the like exact like moments they threw and stuff like that, it's not like we were like ready for it in the moment. We kind of just saw them walk in very deep. Someone has like a good angle to punish, and we go for it.
Because I just asked because I remember like I watched your series against Heretics. And like you guys, game 1, I've never seen so many wards littered in the enemy jungle. Like it seems like you guys kind of have come in with a game plan. Like I don't want to just spill all the secrets, but it's like it feels like you guys almost come in with a game plan from the get-go of like, hey, this is the team that we have. This is like the early weaknesses or these small weaknesses that we can exploit. And as much as it is about, hey, play your game, I think you are a team that does very well with understanding how to exploit those weaknesses and when to exploit those weaknesses. So that's why I wasn't sure in the Fnatic one if it was kind of a, hey, this is half the game plan, play defensive and wait for these moments where they mess up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think we would definitely have preferred, I guess, to get out ahead, especially like the first game. If I can like make some plays on Talia, I will definitely look for it. But I think they didn't really represent themselves, and we just kind of ended up waiting for their mistake instead.
Yeah. Is how much of your prep and foundation for you feel like for G2 is like playing your game, let's say, like clean fundamentals, whatever, versus playing against the enemy team, trying to punish specific habits or something from specific players? Because I know you guys have a pretty robust support staff, right? These guys are super experienced. I know they do their research. So how often are you like coming into a series with like a, Razork does this versus this is just how we should play this jungle matchup. That's what this champion does. That's what this champion does.
I mean, it's definitely always a balance, right? Like I think we definitely have our own ways of like playing the matchups and the champions. But as you said, like we definitely have some very good scouting, I think, both from Rodrigo and Memento, and like they can go very in depth on like what kind of habits our opponents have, right? So we are always ready to punish them in whichever ways we like. Yeah. They inform us, right? Yeah, of course, also if someone else sees something, then we can use it too.
Are you big at all on tracking habits? I know supports can often be like really cerebral about what their opponents do.
I mean, I like tracking like cosmic insights, so it's like easier to time sums.
Yeah.
And besides that, I also usually look at level 1s. I feel like level 1 right now is like very, like it's a meta. People do a lot of different things, and having a good level 1 can just like win you a game. So I think I'm looking for that as well. But besides that, not as much.
Totally fair. I think that one of the things that I think we should hit on while we're not too deep into the, like your guys' journey over the years, something you brought up earlier, Rob, which is the discussion around top 4 in the LEC is a bit, I wouldn't say it's not super contentious, but there's room for questions is what I would say. And I think that this is, you guys are in the conversation, no doubt. Fnatic was just outside the conversation, according to most people we've talked to. And after this game this week, I'm not doubting it. But Rob, what's your take? And what do you think of the boys?
Well, yeah, because like this came from, we on the show had Zeph's quote, which was like, yourself, MKOI, and KC are the top 3, and it's kind of like a clear top 3. But then obviously over the weekend, MKOI looked a little shaky against Navi. We had KC just losing to Vitality as well. So I think it was curious, and the understanding was that you guys were the top dogs. And I think it was really interesting to see how that conversation has changed from winter to spring, now coming into summer. So I kind of wanted to get your guys' takes on one, how the other teams exist in that top 3. Do you see it the same way? There's a clear top 3 and then a step down. But also kind of what has changed over the course of the year, where it feels like that conversation used to be it's MKOI and KC, but now you guys are the clear favorites. And how do you feel about that?
I feel right now, at least I feel like that us, KOI and KC, I would probably say we are the top 3. After that, I think actually like Jax and Fnatic, Jax and Vitality are like pretty solid teams, or they can be like dangerous as well. And then I would put the rest of the teams. It wasn't like this for the whole year, but for example, a lot of roster changes happen, and teams like level up or like they need more time to become stronger and build synergy. Also, for us at least, and MKOI, I think when you play international tournaments, you just like level up. You learn a lot. You play against the best players in the world. There's so many things you just learn. Like you think, for me at least, like you think you are good, and then you just go and you just get mega stomped by like the best players, and you're like, oh, there's like still many things to learn about the game, and that's very cool. And I think I would say like it shows when you come back to your EU that you feel like you're a bit on top of some of the other teams.
And do you think it's like one thing that kind of across everyone just shows that you are in that top 3 or that step above? Or do you think it's like lots of tiny little things that you kind of pick up, as you say, at international events that changes you into that top 3-4?
I mean, right now I would say there's small like little things that we just do better. And that's pretty much. I can't just think of just one thing.
Yeah, I mean, I also think at least for me, the teams have like some very specific playstyles, right? Which is kind of fun as well, because depending on the split, I guess different teams did better or worse. Like I thought didn't think KOI was that good, to go honestly, going into spring. I would even put Fnatic above them, just based on like winter and even early spring. But I think they've improved a lot. I would say they probably improved the most from like all the other teams.
What did they improve? Like what stood out to you the most? What was lacking in winter that suddenly looked a lot better in spring?
I mean, I think they were always like a very aggressive team.
Yeah.
I
see a smile on your face as you say it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think they always have a very aggressive team. I just think their place actually started working. It's hard to say, like point out to exactly like what went better for them or not. But judging from both like scrims and of course also us losing to them like in the final, but also just for the scrims we played against them, it seemed like they also just started connecting more. I think you have this often with new teams where like someone goes for like the super aggressive plays, right? And if there's no follow-up, it looks like that person is just kind of ending. But I think they started like, again, going for a lot more aggressive plays together. And when people go for things together, even if the play might not be the best, it might just work out, right? Especially if you catch caught off guard. So
yeah, it definitely feels like a clear improvement, obviously, in the sense that they won, but also a definite level up. Clear context as to why they're going into the top 3. When we talk about those teams, MKOI and KC, what do you think? We talked about each of them having their own style, their own kind of strengths and weaknesses. Not to give away too much, right, for the prep for playoffs, but like, what do you think the strengths of those teams are, KC and MKOI? You mentioned aggression; they're more on the same page for sure. But like, if we're going to talk about it like this, epic or rock paper scissors, or we're going to put them into these different archetypes, early game, late game, like what would you define as kind of the strengths of those teams?
For me, I would say KC, they're just strong individual players, and I feel like their laners are like good laners, and they usually like build leads, and then they just play for drakes, and they just like snowball the game naturally. While for KOI, I would say I don't think they're like as strong individually as like KC, for example, but I think they are just like I think like their support jungle plays very well together, and I think they're also very good at like sending it and like playing team fights well. I think, for example, KOI has better team fighting than KC.
Yeah, I can definitely see like in some of those late game scenarios, even though ultimately KC did win, it did feel like KOI was, for the most part, like outperforming in those areas. Do you agree? Is it kind of just individual players? Maybe is KC's game plan just simple? Because I remember in winter they were like, we're gonna start playing for drakes, and it feels like they locked that shit in winter and they just kept going. Like, is it that simple?
Yeah, I mean, I think KC is quite a predictable team, but like I guess a lot of times this year we just didn't have an answer to it. Like I feel like we always kind of knew what they were doing or like where they were going, but we just didn't have a good enough answer to it, because they are quite good at just brute forcing their plans, right? Yeah. Similar to like a Fnatic, but I guess they had more success with it this year. Whereas I think KOI have a lot more, like I would say, interesting ideas. I think they play a lot on the fly, right? Like they come up with things that can be quite specific, which can be trickier to think about in the moment. But it's also like, if that goes wrong, it goes very, very wrong. And also, if they are like disconnected a little bit, or if they oversee something, then it also just fails, right?
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. How would you describe yourselves? In the same, like, broad terms, again, don't want you to give anything away, but or how do you think other teams would describe you and their strengths? Because it feels pretty ironclad, feels pretty clear for both those teams, right?
I mean, to be honest, I'm not quite sure what the rest of the teams like think about us, like what would be our like strength. But I mean, right now at least I feel like we are very solid at like many aspects of the game. I think like our early games recently weren't the best, and I think like I feel like might be like or like weakness. Like I feel like both games against Fnatic and like first game today, I think we were like sometimes we just die a lot to like ganks, or sometimes even like laning phase. I think that could be something we should work on. But I think after that, I think we're very like stable and like solid. And yeah, I think we just play them up well, understand them up, and we just like get leads.
Yeah, I mean, I think we try to adapt a lot. I think depending on the meta. I think something I always like with like the teams I'm on is just to stay open-minded, right? Like try different things. I think if you always do the same thing, it shouldn't be the best. That's at least how I see it. So try and be a bit flexible, sometimes you have to drop a few deaths with any. Catch the enemy some kind, you know?
That's respectable. And I gotta, like, for you, you're a guy, as long as you've been in this league, and certainly as long as I have talked to you, who's always been down to cook. Whatever it is you're playing, whether it's League of Legends or anything else, you're a guy who likes to try things, right? And I feel like recently, you've kind of had to step back from that. I don't know. It feels like you are a more supportive figure on the team. Broken Blade certainly gets to cook. There's some cooking in the jungle too. Is that intentional? Is there some Caps cooking coming in the future that we get to see you maybe step away from the Talias, Annies, and Gallios of the world and step back into the? I mean, Vayne is the obvious one, right? But like some of the weird stuff.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think a lot of people want to see the Vayne. I think it would be fun to try it out at some point for sure. I think, especially with Fearless coming in, I think having like a very stable champ pool is like crucial. I think for Fearless. So I want to make sure that I am like the best on all the champs that I need to play. And then if I can find some fun picks, I like to pull them out. Also, something I noticed throughout my career is that it almost feels like a waste. Like if I play something spicy today, if I think something is very good, like maybe a Vayne mid counter pick like that.
Yeah.
If I play it today, people will know about it, and I don't like that. So like for every year I've gone, I think I started like saving things more and more for like in an important match I have the potential of pulling something out. Because if I play it today, it's just gone. Like it's not. I can still pick it, but people will know about it. They can ban for it. Maybe other people will try picking it up as well. Like a lot of people playing the Vayne mid after I played it, right? So it's like if I have some spicy picks, I would rather just save them for when it really matters.
Do you feel like you like to cook it all, Labrov? Because I remember when you came into the league, you were like the Thresh guy. Last year, people were quick to accuse you, and probably we were included this, and honestly, so sorry, but we called you a Rel merchant last year. The Alistar seems to be the focus pick for you this year, and we've seen you branch out. You mentioned yourself, hey, Blitzcrank, when all else fails, like you'll go back to a Blitzcrank. Are you a person who likes to experiment, or are you similar in what Rasmus is saying now, where you're like, I just want to be the best at this big range of champions because Fearless demands that I'm going to need to play, 5 to 10 different things?
I would say I'm the type of person that likes to, like experience stuff, and especially for Fearless, I think BFI Fearless is important to be able to play some like a random champion.
Yeah.
But since like it didn't go that well, I feel like on our finals, especially in winter, I think, you could say that like we had some like weird drafts. Also, like I think I picked Thresh twice, and it didn't look good. So I'm right now I'm aiming more on just having like solid, like strong meta champs and being really good at them. But I'm also confident that I will be able to pull something spicy out again and finally like do well when the time comes.
Yeah.
I think it shows in your gameplay though, like as a team, because I think in my mind, G2 is kind of the team that has the best read of the meta right now. Because when I look at like a lot of the way I look at the meta at the moment, it's like trying to nail down combos, and it's like the Taliyah Pantheon are one of the ones that you guys are bringing out. And we've seen Taliyah and we have seen Pantheon, but I haven't really seen people really bringing out the two together. I mean, like Rumble Wukong is another one, but we haven't seen you bring it out. But it feels like not only do you have a lot of the meta ones down, and you're playing it probably at the highest level, you've also got weird ones now because BB's been cooking in the top lane, where it's like, well, now instead of like a Vi Galio, we have a Rek'Sai Galio, and we have like these kind of things, right? So I think it's really cool to see that although you guys are kind of saying, hey, we're we're fully focused on getting the meta down, it still feels like you've got these back answer picks and you've got a really good understanding of what is actually needed in the meta at the moment, but how you can kind of play around within that space as well.
Yeah, do you guys feel like what he's saying is true to Fearless? Because I do like, I agree with what you're saying in the sense that it does feel like there are these 2 to 3 piece combos that feel like the poster child for draft. Like Fnatic's game 2, for example, it was like the most obvious Rumble angle, even if it wasn't Oscar Renan since the dawn of time. You guys immediately ban it, and suddenly the comp's like, I don't know how good the Jhin Wukong is without all that extra damage. But is that the focus in Fearless, is just to kind of like get these strong pairings, these champions that synergize well together? What's the kind of philosophy that you guys go into draft with? Again, I know it's tricky. We're always, towing the line of an area where you guys might be giving stuff away.
No, I think we definitely, we for sure look for combos, right? But I think the thing about Fearless as well is it's just that it's it can be very different, right? Especially the later you go, the more chaotic it can kind of get, right? Like, especially here in best of threes, it's not that different from honestly last year. Even we're just playing game 1, and here we just play game 2. It's pretty much the same. But I think once it goes game 3, game 4, game 5, it's like sometimes you just run out of champions in certain roles, or you run out of like good champions, like champions that match the rest of your comp, as you said, right? And you definitely want to have like some synergy in your draft, and you also need champs that are good against the opponent draft. So yeah, I mean the more the better, right? Yeah, the more the merrier.
Yeah. The other thing I think is really funny is before Fearless, and maybe this is your growth as a player, you used to be I feel like you cooked a lot more, and now in Fearless, weirdly giving you the option, in theory, to play anything you possibly want is what has tamed Rasmus Winter and his endless series of troll scrim picks. And maybe the troll scrim picks are still there. Are they still there? You don't have to tell me what they are. Okay, cool. So not completely tamed. That's good to know. I have to be careful. One time me and Deficio accidentally leaked some Fnatic stuff and got really mad at us.
Look, it isn't top 8. We're okay.
No, to be fair, it was a random guess. It just turned out to be a correct random guess.
Fair enough then.
I think it was Wukong mid that we guessed. But you were playing in solo queue in our defense. So.
Oh, actually, I remember that. I remember that we were watching that. We're like, oh no.
Look. Whoopsie. It's old news. You were still winning anyway, believe it or not. But yeah, it's kind of crazy to me that Fearless is what's lowered or limited the cooking. It's kind of, I guess the reality is now that you can't just play Orianna, Victor, and then start cooking. You need to play 5 champs. Is that the thing? Is you just need a broader pool of, as you said, stable options?
I mean, it's a little bit of having a broader pool of stable champs, but I think more it's like knowing like what you will actually play against, right? Like if you know what you play against, it's very easy to prepare like something specific against it.
Yeah.
But now you might be playing against the Vasir, or you might be playing it, right? And then your counter doesn't do as much. And then it's also what I mentioned before, like that's why when I actually find these like solid counter picks, I don't want to just use them on a game that doesn't like win us a title, or a game where like our backs are against the wall. So like if those like good picks should come out, it should be in like a crucial moment.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the year. There have been some crucial moments. A lot of them have not gone very well, boys. And while a lot of people are talking about you as the best team, and it feels comfortable, like an old coat, talking about G2 as the best team, you slip it on. It's normal. We've been here before. Winter finals, you mentioned it, felt pretty rough. And so I want to start with, I think, a question that has been on the mind of many fans, and many fans won't phrase it nicely, I think. But Labrov, you've been a guy who's been under a ton of pressure. And I know you talked about having some rough games. So I'm curious what this first winter split was like for you. I remember your week 1 was a little bit rough, or at least day 1 was rough. First finals was a little bit rough. How has this journey been for you, kind of adapting to G2 and adapting to these, a lot of really high pressure matchups, to be honest? You saw some as BDS. I remember when you guys beat the hell out of Golden Guardians. That was great. But how has that been, kind of adapting to the onslaught that is playing on G2 and the fact that you guys are qualifying to just about everything, playing in so many high pressure matchups? What's that been like?
For sure. I think when I first joined, I think I could feel the pressure that is there. That like now we're the best team in EU and we need to win like everything. Otherwise, it's going to be like a failure. But I think I learned how to like deal with it and just like focus on the present and just look to like every day just to be the best version of myself. And I just don't like think too much about like expectations and like winning. And I think it's going better. I think right now, like I think after the MSI, I feel like we started playing like better as a team. And yeah, it's like nice that I feel like right now we're probably the best version we've been the whole year.
Yeah, what was the conversation like after MSI? Because finals was disappointing, but you were going to go to MSI, and that's often, it's not the first time that G2 hasn't been the first seed, right? And sometimes there's been redemption, or sometimes you just beat Mad and at least redeem yourself, right? Like that the London MSI was a weird MSI, but it was obviously, that was also a pretty rough tournament. So you say things are better now, but what happened after that tournament to put you in a position where you do feel like you guys are on the right track now? What were the conversations like?
I mean, I think we obviously had like not a great performance, and I think we didn't even have a single like solid series, like even the series we did win were struggles. So we were not, I think none of us was happy with how we performed, but it was just important that we got to talk to each other, right? And we had a lot of talks right after. and all of it is like just finding like the common things that we saw we can improve on, right? And there were many things, but I think the biggest takeaways is just playing a bit more aggressive. I think in Europe it was a lot about just like going to the Drake and having a fight there, but internationally everyone just plays faster and faster and faster, and I think we need to play a lot more fast, and we need to play a lot more confident and just like be more comfortable taking a few risks here and there. And I think that has helped us a lot. Like at EWC, sure, sometimes we mega ran it, and similar even now, right? But other times it works out great for us. It's not like we are gonna take flips all the time, but we are a lot more comfortable taking some risks.
I mean, yeah, I can see. I mean, I don't think we see as many as. I guess you walked up for that creep. That was a pretty big risk today, and then died to a seer. I don't know if that was the best gamble, but you did win the game. They took a risk, starting that Baron and then grouping up as 3, and you ulted in their face. So I guess we know who took the better risks. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of a lot. Is there any other like things or issues that you can highlight specifically from that conversation? I know Broken Blade wasn't happy with his own performance. I don't want to get like super into the nitty gritty, but you talked about playing more aggressive generally. Is there something is there anything specific that you learned from the Asian teams that isn't just like fast? Is there a setup around a play or anything that you can give us that you think was especially? Because I know Memento tweeted, "Guys, we figured it out. We've locked it in. Like, we've watched the Asian teams, we've downloaded, we've learned, and if you watch the VODs, you can learn too." What was the wisdom download?
I think I agree with Caps. I think the main thing that we weren't doing very well compared to the other teams is just in between objectives, just playing like for tempo and just having a good map state and looking to like invade or like cover like side lanes and just being efficient with your time in general. I think we weren't that good at it, and since then I think we've like improved a lot on this. So I feel like it's a decent reason why the games just feel like better to play.
I think our comps are also like quite troll, to be honest. I think there was something we realized, even like both that and also what we were talking about here. But some of the things were things we already realized, like I think the week before going into playoffs. Yeah. And there was actually like a big boost for us, and I felt like we started playing way better like in playoffs in spring, but we just didn't get to like reach a high enough level to win LEC or compete internationally, right? And now we had a lot of stage games like since spring. We got just so many stage games, and we also got to learn from the best, and we really got to like flesh out our plans and our ideas. And I think we're better now, so now it's time to show it.
Can you clarify? Did you say comms or comps?
Like our comms, like
in game.
Yeah, how we speak.
Yeah. Can you give us an example? Because I don't think that's giving away too much. I don't need you to give me the plays, but it's not giving away too much for people at home. Was like, was anyone talking too much? Was anyone talking too little? Of course, don't want to throw anyone on the bus.
I think just being like, I think we used to be more like nervous and undecisive, and I feel like now we are more chill.
Yeah.
I think still there's like a better way to go, but I think we are on the right path.
Is there? The old like the season 3 thing. It was there's a shot caller and that person leads the way. C9 high, blah blah blah. But like I know there's a lot more nuance to that. But is there any do you guys have any identified roles or any kind of rules about communication to help clarify like what kind of information you should and shouldn't be relaying?
I think for us a big thing was just like I think the way we like make our sentences and speak, because like if we're like. If we're doing Drake and our opponents are coming, there's a huge difference between just like, oh, they're coming to us, like, let's get ready or whatever you want to say, or be like, they're coming, guys. Oh no, it was kind of like that felt like more the comms before. I think we still like now we're getting a lot more again confident, right? We're like, yeah, they're coming, but we'll just. I guess I can't say,
but just better flow of information.
Better flow of information. You're not stumbling through the words,
and more decisive, I think, as well, because it was a lot of like back and forths, and now it's just like let's go for it. Like if someone sees an angle, and someone else is like, no, don't do it for whatever reason. It's like if they really believe in it, then go for it. Because you probably know best yourself if you see a play in the moment, right?
Yeah.
Like the any flash. Like if I see any flash, I will go for it. I will not be like. Guys,
maybe I can answer.
Yeah, it's like,
oh, whoops! Now they're not grouped
like
up
the right hand
anymore.
engage, right? As well, like we have a lot of these moments that we probably missed out on so many moments before, and getting those moments definitely help us out.
Yeah, what was the lack of confidence? Was it just scrims not going well? Was it just extra pressure coming from the stage? Like, it didn't occur to me that like your team is so full of veterans, right? And you are not a guy who hesitates to flash in. At least that's not how it looks to me. So what was kind of holding that confidence back? Was it just mixed results? Was it pressure? Why do you think it was so hard for you to just be like, we're going?
I mean, I think we honestly just didn't really like realize it. Like, it's like, it sounds like silly, I guess, if you think about it, but it's not like we listen back to our comms a lot.
Yeah.
So you kind of just play and then you play in the moment, right? But I think our staff noticed it first, and then we listened back, and it was like a bit sus, yeah, for sure. I think I'm not sure exactly what it is, if it's like the pressure, or maybe it's because like we did worse than we wanted to, right? Like we wanted to, of course, win Winter, and after losing Winter, maybe that kind of dropped our confidence, because I don't remember our comms like in Winter Split.
Yeah.
But I could totally see like if things go wrong, then it makes sense to lose confidence and being like a bit more hesitant and careful. Like if many things go wrong, so maybe that was like what was plaguing us in Spring Split.
Yeah, I think I agree with Caps. I would say like a mix of everything, like between like pressure, like losing like finals, so maybe losing confidence. Could be like nerves, or like just playing on stage after a long time with like new roster and stuff maybe as well.
Speaking of communication though, how has that kind of developed between yourself and Hans Sama over the course of the year? Because you guys obviously only started getting used to each other at the start of Winter, and now you've got almost an entire year that you've gone through. I can only imagine that's been a journey for you.
Yeah, I think I'm like really happy playing with Hans. I think he's like very good, and he's always like very motivated to like to do better. Like every small detail in laning phase. For example, even when we're playing scrims and we're doing really well and like kind of like win every game, like he's the type of guy that he will just look over the vote and just see, oh, look, we could have done this better in laning phase. And so it's like really, really nice having a teammate like this. And yeah, I think it's going very good. I think we kind of see the game in like similar way, so it's great.
Yes.
Yeah. Is there anything that you guys do to like build the bond outside a game? I know the G2 rosters over the years have done a lot. I remember Midnight Basketball back on
as well.
The Flacket BB roster. There's been a lot of different things. Is there anything that like you and Hans like have in common where you're like, this is the thing that we both like? Hell yeah.
I mean, I think we both kind of like anime. I think Hans watches more than me, but we don't really watch together so far. I mean, we used to play like board games as like 5, and but we like don't do it as much nowadays. But yeah, I don't know. We just like vibe, I guess. We like to have fun, I think, and maybe that's what like bond us.
Yeah,
we still do the spike ball as well, I guess, in the mornings. So
yeah.
That's
usually, like our routine.
Usually we're winning, right? So
you meaning spike ball or?
Yeah.
Oh.
Wait, what are the teams in spike ball? I've heard this issue brought up before that sometimes the teams are bad in spike ball. Is it you two together?
We change like teams every split.
Okay.
Right now it's me, Caps, and Memento.
Okay.
Against BB, Skew, and Hans. I think right now is like quite like competitive. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I would say it's pretty even. I would say like we're probably winning more. Like not just off the top of my head, like how it feels at least.
Yeah. Without being too biased, I have to agree.
Yeah. We'll find out later, I guess. If this
I was
is
going
it.
to say, I can't wait for the scrim leak of how Spike Ball has gone.
It's also like Spike Ball is a game, it's a fair play game. So it's a lot of like, oh, was the ball in or was the ball out? And you have to make a call, And I will say, like, I feel like it goes a bit more towards their side. They have a few more yabbers.
The fair play referee, the self-referee is...
we're being a bit more, like, harsh on ourselves, We have, give them a point here and there,
yourself to a higher standard.
So to sabotage G2 is to infiltrate the Spike Ball and get just fighting over it.
Yeah, I mean, if you throw... Like, we already lost 1 ball, I think, this year. I think we lost 2 or 3 last year.
We lost one, like, a week ago. Like, a few days ago or something.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I think, even.
It goes, like, on the roof nearby. Yeah. And if we run out of, like, I think we have 3 balls left. If those are gone, it might not look good for the rest of the year for us.
All right, I have to ask, you brought up anime. This is people in the comments either favorite or least favorite section of all time where we talk about anime. But you got to give me some tops or some favorites or what you're currently watching for all the weebs out there.
I watched like in the off season, I watched Parasite. Like I really liked it actually. I recommend it to people. I mean, besides that, I haven't watched that many. Like I watched like the classics, Solo Leveling, Attack on Titan, Death Note. I really liked all of them. But if I Yeah, if I had to choose one, probably would be Parasite right now. It's my favorite one.
All right, nice recommendation. Rasmus, I can't remember how into anime you are. I know you guys watch shows together.
No, we watched some shows, we watched some anime. Like I guess this year we don't really watch stuff together, but I think my favorite probably be Blue Lock. I really like that one. Always a banger every episode, and yeah,
except for when the animation gets bad or like the weird international soccer episode. But
I actually don't mind that. Like I have even those episodes that people were flaming a lot and sometimes a little bit sus. I thought it was fine.
All right, fair enough. Rob, any shows you'd recommend as long as we're here? Just it's just a little sidestep. It's a little side road in the middle of the podcast.
Well, I watched Solo Leveling very recently because I don't really watch a lot of anime or a lot of TV shows in general, but also watched Sneaky Pete recently, which is really good. It's on Netflix. Highly recommend. It's a con man who can't go back to his old life, so decides to steal the life of his cellmate and go and live with his grandparents and pretend that he's his cellmate. And it's really, really good. Yeah.
Sounds good.
It's from Bryan Cranston. Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad. Yeah.
Breaking Bad.
Okay.
Walter White.
Yeah.
He's in it, or he's doing it?
Written and he's in it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, spicy. It's a good recommendation. All right. Nice side tangent. Back to the serious business. So there's been progress. Winter was rough. It feels like everything is on the up and up for G2. You play SK next week, and then you have a big old break. Like, what is the big focus for G2 right now to be in fighting form? Because as much as kind of internally we're hearing, from Zeph, from whoever, that you guys are looking like you're the top dog again, right? It doesn't really matter until we get to best five. So like, what's the focus for you guys to be in shape to make sure you can deliver this split and kind of transcend the previous limitations of making it to finals, but then really not being able to show up in those finals?
We definitely need to stay like consistent and creative. I think we've had like as like a solid few weeks, right? And especially after MSI, we started having like some very good weeks of scrims. Not necessarily like in results, but just more like we were learning so much, right? Like, and I think already this last week was going like a little bit down. Honestly, like it was not as good as the weeks before. So I think we need to make sure that we keep it like a good standard, right? Because it's very easy. Like, next week we already locked, so maybe we should already think about playoffs, right? I've been guilty of doing that before. But we need to make sure we actually keep the good things that we learned. And also we need to expand on it, right? Because there's so many more things that we need to do if we want to be the best team in Europe and in the world.
Yeah, I think I also agree. I think consistency is like number one. Like having the mindset to like push every day hard and like look to learn new things, because there's a lot of things we can improve. And also, like the meta read, the patch will probably change, I think, for like playoffs. So it's good to be on the right track.
Yeah.
And yeah, those things probably.
Next up, we got some community questions. Everyone, shout out to you whether it was on the YouTube community tab or on Twitter. We got some good questions. First question I want to ask is for you, Mr. Rasmus, from Ter Law, probably pronounced differently. Sorry. For Caps, the general consensus is that you are considered the GOAT of Europe. I would say that's a pretty universal consensus, but Ter's keeping it, doesn't want to overcommit here. Does this come with extra layer of pressure? Does it make you want to strive even further and reach new heights? How does it feel to kind of have that title put on you?
Well, thank you. I mean, I am obviously honored to be called that. From like whenever we do fan meet, there's a lot of people that say it as well, and I appreciate that. I think that I came into League, I guess, with the goal of like winning worlds, right, and becoming the best. So it feels bad that I haven't been able to achieve that. It feels bad that it feels bad even being called the GOAT of the West while not actually winning worlds, because it kind of just shows like how big the gap is and has been, I guess, between Europe and certain other regions. So I really just want to make everyone proud. I don't think it adds more pressure than like I already add to myself, or like that we just have for ourselves as like a team. So I'm obviously grateful for that. But I really want to still prove myself. We still have a lot of things to show, and I think this year might just be it.
Next question from YouTube, from I love this. He said, in parentheses, just say Hugo if you prefer, because your YouTube name is long.
I think it's Hugo the Carvel. I shouldn't have done it.
He said,
I should have given up.
He gave me permission.
Can we cut that?
Shout out Hugo. This one's for Labrov. Now that you're playing for a team of a higher caliber, parentheses, no offense to BDS, are there any things that you had to unlearn in order to fit with the teams and the expectations? Yeah, are there any like things that you were doing on BDS that you had to unlearn, or any things that have been like radically different on G2 from your time in BDS?
I mean, obviously playing with different teammates, like just like new habits and how everyone like thinks and sees the game is like very different. I think when you like change teams and environments, even like scrims, like schedule, like I feel like it's like very different. Or like also like our feedback was like between scrims and stuff. I think is like just like completely different like environment. I mean, besides that, I think I learned a lot. Like in G2, I think everyone has so much experience, and I feel like even like people here know like the winning formula, and like I try to like when I joined, I try to learn a lot, and just basically I wouldn't say something too specific, just how people think, and that's it.
Looking back, and this can be for both of you, is there any habit that you used to have as a pro that you look back and just like cringe? You're just like, I can't believe I just did this all the time, or I couldn't this. Whether it's like how you gave feedback out of game, or if it's like you had a specific habit in game that you look back and you're just like, that's so obviously dumb. Like, can you guys think of an example of anything like that?
I mean, there's a lot of examples, I think. But I mean, the biggest thing for me, at least like the first year, I think was the most extreme probably. But I was just like very tunnel visioned on like, I guess it was like laning phase, and I was very prone to, I guess, getting ganked as well because of that. I was clicking forward a lot, and I think that like nowadays I see the bigger picture a lot better. I got to learn from like Reckless and Source and stuff like this about like playing side lane, playing like later in the game, and not just like mega stumping my opponent in lane. If it doesn't happen because I ganked or something, then GG. But I think that's a big thing. I think, I mean, also just like making sure I guess speak up if something is important. Like if I believe in something, of course I had like many regrets like throughout the year, right? Like many loss where I was like, if I did these things different, and making sure that I speak up.
Yeah, I mean, I like that, man. Sometimes it can be really tough in those environments. And also, I'm just laughing because I'm remembering the countless interviews that we had with Broxa back in 2018, where he was like, he's gonna fist fight. You're either there to back him up or you're not. Like, it's gonna happen. You can't stop him. You have to be there. It didn't always sound happy when he gave that interview answer, but he gave that interview answer a lot, Caps. How about for you, Labrov?
I mean, for me, I would say the main thing is like how I view them up and what I do. Like with my time, for example, I could remember like probably when I joined, I for sure sometimes could be very lost in the game, and like when the game is like slow, I didn't know what to do. I could maybe just stay on the map with no wards, just like not putting wards in basing, like not like thinking too much about tempo, not tracking enemy wards well, like and sweeping them and like this type of stuff. I think for sure I was like very very bad at it.
Yeah. I get it though, man. I'm always impressed because I think that to the audience, right, we get to some of these mid-game situations between objectives and it's boring for the average Sleep viewer. It's so boring. But I imagine it's so hard because like there is something you can be doing and there is a right choice. And this is where games are kind of won or lost. But you have to stay so focused even though technically like nothing has happened. Is it difficult in like mid-late game? Probably not. I imagine not so much in high pressure scenarios, but I imagine like if we look at the biggest difference I think between our top and our bottom teams, it feels like our top teams are usually like moving with intention. And I feel like, man, even in your Fnatic game, I felt like they were a little bit dizzy on the map. Is it hard to like keep that focus, constantly be checking in? Are we playing for this wave? Do I have wards? Is it a difficult thing?
I mean, I would say like when the game is going bad and you're like losing, I think it's not easy to like keep track and like do the things you are supposed to do well, like in terms of like vision, like basing, like connecting with your team. Like let's say your like side lanes are getting pushed in, so you won't have many opportunities to like group up and like put vision or like look for fights. I think you just basically need to be more efficient, and when you're losing is harder to do than when you're winning.
I mean, I think a big difference as well, I think is just about like how aggressive you are and like how like fast you play again. sure, some teams play too aggressive and they kind of just like flip it, you know, like, oh, we just go on this lane, we go on this guy, hope for the best kind of thing.
Oh yeah, 2024 MKOI. We'll sit in the bush, and if they walk into us, we're getting those kills.
Yeah, exactly, right? But I think the very best teams in the world, they make sure they do those plays, but they actually do it with like the info, or they do it with like some kind of like, I guess, understanding behind it. Like they have a reason behind it. It feels like a lot more like mindful of doing it. Or they will threaten it at least.
Yeah.
So like you have to, are you gonna defend it, or otherwise you might just might die there, but then they attack you somewhere else. And I think having like many different avenues to attack on the map can be tough against some of the strongest teams. Whereas a lot of the just like weaker teams are just teams that don't really value like the mid game or just like the minutes between Drake. They might just be like, oh, let's just farm it out, you know, like see you at Drake.
Yeah, it's because we had Jojo on the podcast last week, and he was actually saying something similar coming off of MSI. It was, you know, the amount of the way that the Eastern teams play for things like tempo and just being able to like, oh yeah, well, we're going to half attack this area, and if you have, you know, mistimed something, or you're not there where you're supposed to be, or you don't have a ward in the correct place, next thing you know, the entire game falls apart. And it feels like he's used the word fast, but it almost felt like it was just this constant pressure to keep up the pace and be everywhere that you need to. So I definitely can understand where you're coming from, because it seems to be just, especially after coming back from MSI, all these kind of moments just are highlighted even more about how quick you have to be around the map.
I don't know, man. I think we should, none of that. That's too complicated. Let's play for Drake. Let's just go to Drake every 5 minutes. We ring the bell. You fist fight. You go back to your corner. League boxing, you know? Yes, obviously, it's a bit of a mess. A question coming in from Wubba4055. YouTube is so cursed.
with the
Among Us. Yeah, the Caps and Labrov. You've gotten to experience. You have 2 internationals, EWC and MSI with Fearless Draft now. EWC was Fearless, right? Yeah. Okay, just double checking. I didn't catch it. So, how does it compare to non-Fearless in previous years? Do you think you're stronger with more flexibility in draft, or do you prefer honing your skills on a few champs at a time? Yeah, Fearless versus non-Fearless. Would you ever want to go back?
Probably not. I mean, we did lose to Fearless, or we won last year. But aside from that, I think Fearless is actually kind of fun because you get to play a lot more different champs, and I always have enjoyed playing like different champs. I think a bit of a different idea we had going into Fearless was that, we're gonna get to try play all these crazy picks.
Yeah.
Whereas exactly it showed that you actually need to have a very deep, like solid, like just like normal, I guess, champ pool as well, because that will get attacked quite hard, and it can be a bit more tricky to find the specific counters, as I mentioned earlier, 2 specific champions. So I think that was like some big lessons we had for sure. And also just like the thing is like the game 4s, the game 5s, like there's just not actually been that many games. Like the sample size is so small. And even if you look throughout the whole year, it's like, there were like a few games, but then there was a different patch. Mm-hmm. So if you look at the individual patch, it's like there's just like such a small sample size. So the only sample size you have is from scrims, but scrims tend to be like quite fake data. Like if you only rely on that. And for us, like did we even play a game 5 this year? Actually, I don't think so, right?
We did that MSI for sure.
We played 2. We played 2 best game 5s there. Yeah, that's true. But like even that's like 2 best of 5 game 5s we've experienced on stage this whole year in this specific patch. It doesn't really give us like an insane amount for like the next game 5, I guess. So that one is can be quite tricky. I
mean, it's a problem that has existed in like League of Legends data for the longest time. There was a year where we had someone on our team who was like, I really want to look at Azir versus Victor, so we can like talk about who wins the matchup, how you level your skills. And it was like, okay, well, where are you pulling the data from? Because even if you poll the entire world, they just changed the patch, which means everything else before it is irrelevant. So unless you're going to solo queue, you can't get anything. And that was when Azir Victor was like the only matchup we saw ever.
Yeah.
Ever. It wasn't even enough data to like come to any kind of statistically relevant conclusion. And now it's Fearless. It's like, oh, how do you feel about this matchup? It's like, yeah, but also this is game 3. These champions are banned. The circumstances are useless. Is your coaching staff like, hell yeah, we feel alive. We've never been more valuable? Or are they like, oh my God, my job is so hard. What's your perspective?
Well, first of all, I think I like Fearless a lot. It's also way more funner to me playing.
Yeah.
And especially in the later games, like game 4, game 5. I think like previous years, I think you had like 2 or 3 comps that you played a lot in scrims and you were like feeling really confident. And I think you could always like default back in and maybe change like 1 or 2 picks. But same team concept, like would just be like very similar. But now, let's say you're going into game 5, it's like very chaotic, and you really need to adapt in the moment and come up with a solid plan. And especially, let's say you are going second phase, there's like literally 10 bans already, and there's like 2 more. You literally might just pick like total random champion. So to me, that sounds very funny.
It's great for us. It's people who watch you play. It's great. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, and to answer your question about G2 coaching stuff, if they like Fearless or not, I think it's like for sure. I think they got more used to it. Like in winter, I think there was like something very very unique, right? Like it's very hard to prepare. I mean, I don't know if they like it more than before, because we lost like two times finals. But I think right now, I think it's going well. But I don't know. I think they might, if they could choose, I think they might go back. I think I think the damage has been done, at the finals.
Yeah. How do you, like, as a player feel about, and probably as a team, feel about like Fearless for practice? Because on the one hand, it's okay, well, we get to try a whole bunch of different things and kind of work on lots of little different things. But I can also imagine it's like, hey, look, if we want to get down team fighting, we kind of just want to play a team fighting comp every single game to nail down our team fighting. So how does it feel from a practice perspective, where you're kind of forced to try multiple different things rather than able to just hard focus on one thing?
I mean, I definitely think it's more difficult to like get to the low level, I guess I would say, because as you said, you'll play different champions. But like once you understand it, it's a way better understanding, because you know how to do team fighting and like with like many different comps, and I think just learning this like problem solving skills of like, how do we team fight with this comp? How do we, like, that will be very useful on stage, because a big thing before us all with scrims is that people often don't ban or like don't target ban in scrims, because like you're not preparing for that team. Then you go on stage and you get like 5 target bans on you, and suddenly you play like a very different like meta already, right? And then you need to know like, how do we do all these things we practice on with this new draft we ended up with? And that's just something you need now in Fearless, like for every game, right? Sure, the game ones can be somewhat similar, but for especially like the later games, you really need to be in the moment thinking like, how do we actually win this game, and like, how do we team fight, how do we get pressure on the map?
I feel like, and I don't want to spend too much more time because I want to get you guys out of here, it's been a long day, but I do feel like this is the hardest it has ever been to be a League of Legends pro, because I think, to your point, let's say even BDS last year, like you guys, it felt to me, had a clear game plan, and you mostly did that same thing, right? It felt like Drake's team fights, and you built comps that could Drake and could team fight. And while I'm sure you had pretty good knowledge of the game, when you play kind of the same style, you don't need to understand, right? It's like you pull out your calculator, you push the right buttons, you solve the equation. You don't need to understand like the math behind it. But what you're talking about now feels like you really need to understand League. It's not enough to understand that, hey, at 5 minutes I'm supposed to be there. You need to understand why at 5 minutes you're supposed to be there, because you can't just, it sounds like, default back to, I've played this one composition a million times, this is what we always do, and this is how it works. Is that fair?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's the same with like, I think one tricks. I guess there's a lot of one tricks in League, right? And I think a lot of high elo one tricks, they can struggle at first to just like pick up new champs, because now you need to like kind of like not relearn the game, because you still have a lot of ideas from playing the champ, but you need to play it in a different way. You have a different new role, right? In some of the things you do similar, but not the exact same.
Yeah.
So I mean, and you can cheat it a little bit, right? Like there's some mages that play like similar, or you can play like one or another engaged support or like a range support and stuff. There's some champs that play similar, but they still have like their niche, right? And they're like small mini mechanics, I guess, mini games that they have.
Yeah. It's cool. It's interesting. It's exciting. Last thing, let's talk about matches next week. Now, it's a pretty short week. Reminder, this is happening Monday and Tuesday. So for those of you who missed it, week 4, August 25th and 26th. I believe we're giving some space to our friends in Valorant to do their playoffs on a big weekend. Let them have a big hurrah as we kind of round out our regular season. So you guys are playing SK. To be honest, I don't care. So we're going to move on. It's fine, because whatever happens. You guys are first in the group.
You're still first.
You're still first. I don't need you to be like, we respect them, they're an honorable opponent, we're going to try our hard. I know what you're going to say. I've heard it a million times before. It's fine. The matchup I want to hear about is BDS versus Team Heretics, because this is bad at the bottom of the standings. There's a lot on the line. Of course, the exact tiebreakers are a little bit beyond me at this exact moment in time. I know it's game score, match score, head to head.
Yeah.
It's complicated. But
if they win, it would put them at a 1-3 three-way tie between BDS, SK, and Heretics.
No, I think they break it. They break it on match score first, and then if they're still tied on game score first, then if they're still.
Oh
tied,
yeah, I just mean that they would go to 1-3.
Oh, it would go to 1-3.
Spicy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Team Heretics, are they winning? Are they winning a game? Is it going to happen? Labrov, your former team. Are they going to do it? Are they going to bring it home? Are you going to see? Are they going to be in the cross group decider? What's going on in this matchup?
Well, I think it's hard to predict because I think Team Heretics and Team BDS are, I would say, they are quite similar in like level. To be honest, I think today they had a good showing and I think they improved since their like previous matches. I was watching them. I didn't feel they were playing that well like BDS, but I think today they were actually playing pretty well. Like game 1, they had some good plans. Game 2. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be close, but I think if I had to choose one team, I would probably choose BDS to win.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think for sure BDS did like a lot better than Heretics against us. I think specifically in like that matchup. So it would make sense to go with BDS, but I do think Heretics will win it. I think, I think Flagged will carry them. Maybe get a pentacle too.
Wow, that's so weird that you said that so specifically. If only I knew your team history. Why would he possibly say that? Fair. I guess the only other kind of final, more abstract question is that has nothing to do with this is this even possible? KC went 3-1. No, they owned a head-to-head. Never mind. So you're probably playing Koi. Don't know if we're going to get another chance to talk to you about that. Any initial thoughts, expectations, predictions, focus points? This is where it gets hard, right? Because I don't want you to give anything away. But any matchups you think are important? You mentioned their Jungle Sports Energy earlier was really good. Are you and Skewmon ready to go toe-to-toe with Alvaro?
Yeah, I think I would be very excited to play Koi and take our revenge from the final. I think I would say like mid matchup and jungle support matchup would be very important, but I'm confident that we would be able to be on top of them and win the series and qualify for the Worlds.
And in a weird twist of fate, MKOI Vitality, which I didn't expect would matter ever in a million years because Casey lost, now does matter. So I actually spoke too soon because you could also be playing Vitality. So I take it back. I do need a prediction. Okay. Who are you playing? Because I think if Vitality win, they pull ahead because they own the head-to-head. Yeah. So who would you rather play between Vitality and MKOI? You either have to play a version of Vitality that has beaten MKOI. I mean, it's getting too weird, I know, but I'm sorry. Please try to keep up with me. You either have to play against an MKOI who just beat Vitality or a Vitality that just beat MKOI.
I mean, likely? I think for me, like I think, like I don't really care. I think, I mean, on paper, let's say that maybe Team Vitality is like a bit weaker because they're like a newer team and they have less experience. But I think I would rather face Koi just to get revenge from the finals. Yeah, that final felt quite bad to lose. So I would like to play them.
Yeah, I mean, I think we will play against Koi as well. I mean, I mentioned before, I think they're like the most improved team. Yeah. But that was also not including us, right? So we're gonna show that we're even more improved. We're gonna show that we're even more improved. So yeah, we're gonna beat them up. In game.
But could we convince you to fight them out of game? League boxing, I'm telling you.
Little Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Robots. There you go. Make a wholesome Rob. I respect it. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on the episode. We'll let you go now. I hope that your single day of rest before getting back to the grind ahead of your very serious matchup with SK is important. Well, that's going to do it for EUphoria episode 18. Shout out to our sponsor, ExpressVPN. Head on over to expressvpn.com/LEC to get your 14-day free trial and subscribe to get some free Hextech chests and keys. Get those 6 skins. Maybe you get the sexy spa ones. Who knows? We'll find out. That's going to do it for us here on EUphoria. Good luck to G2 in the coming battles. Good luck to SK, their opposition, and we'll see you back here next week.
Bye-bye.
See ya.